Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Zara. How are you?
Hafsa, alhamdulillah. I'm good.
Alhamdulillah.
How are you?
I'm good.
How's this week treated you? I mean, I've seen you.
Yeah.
I have seen you. So I'm asking
3 days ago.
I saw you 3 days ago.
No, 2 days ago, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked that question as if I
2
don't
days
know.
been, Zara?
You know what? Alhamdulillah. It's been nice.
Alhamdulillah.
It's been fine.
How's work?
Work is good. Well.
It's a pandemic.
It's a pandemic.
It's a lockdown 2.0.
Which means we have entered our second lockdown.
Thanks, Boris.
Thanks, Bojo.
But I actually am really looking forward to it because
I feel like most people don't mind the fact that.
But I think people who have like business, and a lot of people like in terms of like mental health, like I remember like in the first lockdown, like, do you know, just like speaking to your friends, a lot of like people are finding it difficult just because of that social aspect. Because like, for example, for us, we still have you know, when we're going to Arabic class, we still have work, we still have like, even now doing the podcast and talking to each other, so we still have that kind of avenue where we still get to have that social aspect. But so for some people who live at home, or you know, if they're like used to seeing their friends a lot, for them it's really hard because a lot of people, their work is their most social aspect, so being at home for extended periods of time,
it's so important to work. I think it's so important for your mental well-being to have something, you know what I mean, like that to put, you know, I don't know how it works, but
like something to look forward to, you know, something to work towards.
Having those goals set, I think is really really interesting. But yeah, obviously businesses have a massive hit right now. My work is closed, so from Thursday we are shut,
because it's crazy how a lot of businesses had to like proper shift like after the first lockdown. So I think the good thing about it is that if they did manage to sort something out in the end, I guess now they know how they're going to operate. So like, let's say they started a takeaway process, or if they had a different social media approach, or
they've
you know,
got that on
they
lock.
have that on lock. So now they're like, okay, let's just revert back to that way that we were doing it. But for businesses that literally hung on by a thread, it's going to be really difficult for them.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't easy at all. I think businesses have obviously had such a huge hit, and now going back into this, it's not cool.
Yeah, I think cool, and man. You see it around you, because there's like a couple of shops that I used to go to get food and things like that, like near my uni and near my house, and you're just seeing them literally shut. Like there's quite a few near my house which have just the signs gone, it's a new shop, and it's just like, I would have never thought those businesses were in trouble because they had good business.
That's true.
So I was just like shocked. I was just like, yeah.
But you say that, but think about all the massive businesses that have closed down. You know, the big ones.
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
Did you see how Burger King just put out that thing about how they said, oh, we'd never thought we'd be saying this, but it now is the time to support McDonald's and KFC, and they put a massive post saying, get like basically giving customers to their competitors, and it's like people have realized that it's no longer a competitor game. We need to unite, we need to all help each other out. That was interesting, because Burger King is a big corporation there.
Do you remember when KFC ran out of chicken and their whole Twitter, like, that was literally I don't know why I was so interested in it. I found it hilarious. Because like, they were all bashing each other, put out media campaigns, because they all capitalized off of like the social media craze that happened because people weren't able to go to KFC.
Twitter is a petty place.
Literally, Twitter is a
petty place to be, to reside. And it is entertaining.
It annoys me sometimes, but I'm here for the crazes, just for like, you know, when everyone's like, oh my god, did you see Twitter? I'm like, yep, I'm in the loop now. So like, that's the aspect that I like.
People love to, it's really bad, but people love to get onto each other on Twitter.
Yeah. I think it's a once a week app for me. It's too much. It's too draining for every day. It's very negative. It's a very negative space, because people tweet things.
It can be, for sure.
It's like a short piece of writing that somebody has made an opinion in an instant that stays there forever, and they're just so quick to reply onto things. And so if someone's anonymized, you say one thing and it's just like a thread of anger.
Oh, the threads. I mean, people do good story threads. I love to hear a good story thread. on Twitter if it's relevant, if it's beneficial, all these things. But if it's just I
loved it in Ramadan. In Ramadan they had some really good threads, like those people doing like different masjids to visit. Those people like a different ayah every day. There was like an inspirational quote. So those kind
that's
of
all
things
we had.
Yeah. I think it depends on all social medias. I think it depends on who you follow, what you use it for. So I think you can alter it and adjust it to be something that is beneficial for you. But Twitter is just very easy to have that snap.
It's a very, I guess that's social media in general though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
But so obviously I did only see you 3 days ago, 3 days ago, but what's your plans for lockdown? How are you going to treat this time? What is it that has us thinking, all right, you know what, I didn't do this in the first lockdown, so here's my time now? Well,
I think essentially, I'm trying to be a bit more productive with this one. I think with the first, because to be honest, I was productive in terms of education because I had to be. I was forced to stay at home. I had exams coming up. So I think at the beginning of it, I was literally forced into revision. So I didn't waste it. But I think now in terms of like pre-planning my next year, because like I wanted to do like a bullet journal and things for 2021, because I think this year has been a bit of a mushkila kabir, as we say.
It's a very mushkila
kabir. It's just been a bit of a mess. So I think that's why for 2021 I'm trying to just organize my life for then. I'm not trying to beat myself up about this year too much. I think everybody's have a bit of an up and down phase, but I think for next year I just want to get organized, get my health on check, because if there's a habit you want to start in 2021, this is the time to try and perfect that habit. You can't just be like, January 1st I'm going to the gym every single day, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to have my projects every evening, I'm going to write a little like it's just not going to happen. So I'm trying to use this time to ease myself into 2021. But what about you?
Well, I mean, I just released that blog, right?
Yeah.
About
I saw it. I had the privilege. I have the privilege on my way in.
So that basically is everything that is like the framework of how I think I want to spend this lockdown, and hopefully inspire other people to do the same.
Tell the people who haven't seen
I
the
mean,
post.
what even was said in that, even though I just wrote it. Oh, my memory. So, well, a few key points just to summarize it was talking about winter is the best time for the believer.
Yeah.
So we have longer nights, shorter days.
For sure,
and that's perfect. Winter is actually, if you think about it, is such a perfect time for the believer. And on top of that, we have a lockdown over us, right?
Yeah, so it's like that similar like Ramadan vibe, I guess.
Yeah, like Ramadan, like we have the long nights for praying as much as we can. Also being able to get the night prayers in as well, that we probably most likely end up just not doing maybe for whatever reason, especially in the summer when it's so late.
For sure,
the winter's a perfect time for that. Days are shorter to catch up on our fasts. Reminded to myself before anyone else, we need to catch up on those fasts before the next Ramadan. And that was one of the points. Lockdown makes that a lot easier. We have no excuses. We're all at home, guys. Everyone's at home. Let's make the most of this time. The second thing was about actually going back to the first lockdown and thinking about things that we did in the first lockdown, and then as soon as the lockdown ended, those things that we threw out the window. That's a very good point. It's so good, because one of the biggest things I think most people actually realized, which I also speak briefly about in that blog, is that didn't we become the ultimate conversationalists in the blog? Everyone began to know how to talk. We all learn how to talk. Literally, we all learn how to talk. We all learn again how to ask our family members how they are.
Literally, you had no choice.
We had literally no choice. We had to spend time with these people. But no, we managed to spend a lot more time with our families, get the conversations going. I think I understood a lot more about my family as well in that time. But then
I agree.
Yeah. And then as soon as lockdown ended, that went out the window. So for me, definitely, I went back to my phone. I went back to going, you go back to work, you forget to ask people how they are, because it is no longer in a really bad way. It's no longer relevant. It's no longer, I'm not forced to ask you questions, so don't expect it. It's crazy that that even happened. So my biggest thing is to definitely get back to that and to stay on that. So lockdown, I'm going to be spending a lot more time in my household, be more conscious of people's feelings, ask questions, be curious about people's lives that are close to you, etc., and keep that going. So I think my biggest test is to my biggest goal is that whatever I achieve in lockdown, to keep at it.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Because old habits die hard and good habits take a long time to achieve.
Well, that was inspirational, what you just said.
No,
we need to put that on
true.
we need to get
stitch that on a pillow, put it on the page. But yeah, I totally agree. Because I think even when it came to family, especially during Ramadan, I saw a lot of things like going out about like spending time with your family, also in terms of like from an Islamic perspective, like doing like good deeds with your family. So like sitting down, reading Quran together. Those are the things that I think we sometimes forget to do, but it's like we will preach it so much like, oh yeah, it's important to do this, but an act that is, you know, beneficial that you do with like together is so much more, like there's so much more barakah in it, like just doing something as a family. But yeah, it reminds me because I was listening to a seerah series that I joined and it was last night, I think.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
what's
losing
it about?
my days. It was last night. So it was titled, I think, like a day in the life of a prophet, or like a walk in the life of a prophet, something like that.
Okay.
But basically, the way he structured the class is that he went through like a couple points of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his character and the way he carried himself and things that we can learn from that. But at the end, he gave like some actual points and actions that you can go and, you know, take from it. And one of the ones that he mentioned was doing that. And, you know, in this time, especially as lockdown is coming, in terms of like building your family up, because he said it's very easy for you to, for example, let's say you have a sibling and they need to like get on their prayer a bit more. So it's very easy for me to go and be like, you're not on your prayer, you know, attack them for what they're doing. But he said your role is to uplift your family, because if you go to that person and you're like, do you know what, I'm going to pray, like come with me, let's go pray together. Or like you're about to read some Quran, you're like, do you know what, let's do an ayah by ayah, let's do it together. That is how you're going to uplift people, rather than bringing them down and kind of attacking them, which I think is very true, because that's something that I felt during Ramadan, during times like just having that family moments, because we did stuff we would have never done together any other time, but it was just fun for the moment. Do you know what I mean?
You realize that family can be quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realize my family can be quite cool.
You can actually interest me.
You can actually entertain me.
Yeah, you know, for sure. Because we did like I remember during Ramadan, we did like a quiz thing, like my dad and my siblings, well, not all of them, just my brother and my sister. But we would have never done that. We like literally, my dad would have never sat down to do that any other time. But he proper got into it. He was laughing at us because we kept getting the answers wrong. Like it was Islamic based in it, and me and Mara were just like, yeah, we don't know that one still. My dad was asking some hard questions in it, but yeah. So it was like really, I was like, we would have never done this any other time. But it's like lockdown brought that together. So I think it's something that people, you know, capitalize off the time you have now. It's very easy for us to complain and be sad about the situation that we're in, but try and find like the benefits in it. And that is a reminder for myself first and foremost, for sure. I'm not saying like I've perfected it at all. I said perfected. Sad. I can enunciate, guys. Perfected.
Wow.
It's not something I have perfected, but definitely something I want to work towards, inshallah.
Agreed, inshallah. And mashallah, it's crazy how it really did bring all families together.
Yeah.
I think it was needed. And there was an article actually that I read, I believe during the first lockdown, that said that more fathers are spending time with their children. And that's interesting, because obviously if we take the kind of traditional notion of things, nowadays is very different. Yeah, everyone is very hands-on, I'd like to think, and it was that idea that, you know, fathers are actually spending more time with their kids. Like they have realized that work is no longer a priority. Yeah, they can do it from home. They can do it from home. Every manager, boss, every line manager of every company realized it is possible for their employees to work from home. So yeah, I think making it a goal to stick to it. And I just want to go back to that point that you said that was really interesting about not just waiting until the 1st of January. I get stuck in that. I get stuck in it. But what does it mean? What does it mean to wait until the 1st of January? Why can't I wait until the 1st of November, December? Why do we have to start then? And I guess it's that kind of connotation of new year. New year, new me, fresh start. But start now, because this lockdown is a prime time in our life. It's such a monumental time in our life that we have to work on our goals and to really do everything that we can, so that when it comes to January, you're already on it, you know, like start that healthy eating thing today. Literally, you know, okay, fine, gyms are closed, but spinach on the way home. Do it. Like start it now, because January comes, you're in the loop, and then your year, isn't it just going to be inshallah even better.
Yeah, because you always hear those things, like, you know, when you have those successful people which come out with a book and they come with like this new rule, and it's like 30 days, it takes you 30 days to form a habit, or 10,000 hours to form a habit. So I feel like you need to kind of get into it. You can't just be like, okay, January 1st I'm gonna have this habit for the rest of my life,
because you're not gonna even achieve that habit until February.
For sure. You need to like make those mistakes now, learn from your mistakes now, what foods you do like that are healthy, what foods you don't, what works for you, what doesn't, so that now you're on game when it comes to January, because you've done it for the past 2 months. Like literally now it's the beginning of November, December, like you're good to go for January, inshallah. So I think for sure anything that I want to kind of achieve in 2021, I need to like set it in stone now, inshallah. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to try and work on that one.
I agree. I think, do you read books?
I do. Well,
to be honest, I just saw you walk into the studio with a newspaper in your hand.
I love reading the newspaper, but listen, you're new to this TFL life, but trust me when I tell you, if you're forced to take TFL, you really do enjoy
that Metro
reading
is
yeah, you pick up your subway vouchers from the beginning and then you read the paper.
Life hack.
Literally life hack.
Life hacks with Hafsa.
Honestly, like I think reading through it, you read stories that you don't really get on the news. The news nowadays is so headliney. It's so headliney. Anything that they say is like to grab your attention. It's only the bigger things that you read. But I think by reading newspapers or reading articles on your phone, that's when you kind of get the news that isn't as big, but is usually more beneficial to me. Like I remember reading an article about a doctor, and she like contributed, not a doctor, sorry, a nurse, and she contributed her own money to like form this like foundation program of teaching people who are more likely to be vulnerable to having incidents or like stabbing incidents and things like that around them. And she taught them how to like save their own friends who have been injured. And it was just really inspirational. Like it was a really nice story to read, but like those kind of stories probably won't make the headlines, but it's nice to read for yourself because you're learning about really inspirational things that people are doing. So it's just a little, what's the word? Guilty pleasure of mine.
No, I should get into
like
it. You're inspiring me to be more of a newspaper person. I think I should. I think I definitely need to take more traditional ways of capturing the news. But, you know, it's interesting because do you know the people in high professions, people in professions such as nurses, doctors, etc. So my mum had an appointment. She had some appointment, and the nurse, I think, said to her, my mum was telling the nurse something. She was saying, oh, did you hear about this, or did you hear about that, or I heard this happened, or I heard the numbers are going up. She was basically giving the nurse some headlines, whatever. And that nurse was like, you're going to, you need to stop. Like, you need to stop watching the news. Because, and it was interesting when my mum came home and said that to me, because that the nurse told her to stop watching the news. It can affect you majorly. Like, it can make you consumed, and it's good to know. I think it's really good to know everything that's going on. We can't be oblivious to it. We can't think the negative things happen in the world and we can just overlook it because it's not happening to us. But at the same time, there's that switch, there's that other side to it, where the other side of the coin is that what are we doing to ourselves if we're just consuming ourselves in think. Do you feel like the news needs to be more positive sometimes?
I think so, for sure, because I think even when like lockdown hit and everything and the numbers were rising and nobody really knew what was going on and our great prime minister didn't really know what was going on, I think
no one knew what was going on.
No one knew what was going on. I think that a lot of people, they said like a lot of people started developing like mental health problems, anxiety, depression, because people are losing their jobs, their family members are ill, or like they know people who are passing from this. And then at the same time, these numbers were like going up erratically. You know, it was very like, obviously they want to see numbers going, they want to see like, not they want to see some numbers going up, that's the wrong way to say it. What's a good way to say it? They kind of want to get the headline that will make you tap on it. So usually they use like statistics that are eye-catching and things like that, like a crazy looking graph, whatever it is that they can do to try and get you to read it. But for people who are worried and anxious, just seeing all this information, not really understanding it, it definitely will cause their anxiety to raise. People who are worried about their jobs, you know, losing jobs, things like that. So I think for sure it could be a lot more positive and beneficial to people, because sometimes it's nice to hear something nice.
It's nice to hear something nice.
Yeah,
I agree. And
that was the most basic statement ever, but it's really nice.
No, but it's so
nice.
Impactful. It's so powerful because it's always nice to hear something nice, even when you are talking to someone else. You know, you should always try and I think be nice. And I think one thing that lockdown has taught me, I don't know about you, it's also also taught me that if I have nothing good to say, to not say anything at all, which is what we're taught, right? That if you only speak if you have something good, constructive to say. And I think that's interesting that I've learned the importance maybe of not saying anything.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because
I don't know if you know where I'm going with this.
No, I totally agree. I think it's like, how do you even explain that? I think it's like the silence is fine. The stepping away from it is fine. If you don't understand what is going on, it's fine to not say anything, because I think, especially like how we're talking about Twitter and everything, I think it's very easy for somebody to want to comment on something. It's okay to say, I don't think I have enough information to comment on this. I don't think I have enough knowledge to comment on this, or to like digest it and form an opinion on it. Sometimes your opinion is just not there because you don't know enough. I think that's what we kind of learned from this, especially with all the events that happen with Black Lives Matter, with the pandemic, with all like so many situations, even when it came to like all the social situations, like how we recently had that thing with like Marcus Rashford and the whole free school meals thing. I think a lot of the time these are very like detailed, very complicated situations that involve many different processes to get to that point. And who's responsible? Is it government? Is it local government? Is it society? So I think there's a lot of information behind it, and it's very hard sometimes to form an opinion on something so complex. But it's okay to just literally be like, do you know what? I don't think I have enough information to like form an opinion on this, and that's fine.
It's okay to not know.
Yeah, it's okay to not know, literally.
Yeah, because I mean, isn't that what life is about? It's about you learn something every day. The most wise, what do they say? There's a quote. Oh gosh, I'm not even going to get this right. So what is the point of me trying? There's something about the most wise is the person who knew they didn't know. I don't know.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's like admitting. Oh, I can't remember it.
The most wise is the person who who knows that they don't know. I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna find out, because can you Google it?
Okay, I'll Google it.
Have a look.
I will check. Let me
see if you can find what I'm trying to say. The most.
Type in
what it means.
The one who knows what they don't know. Google. Come on, Vodafone. The wise man is one who knows what he does not know.
Okay, I wasn't far off. I wasn't far off. Isn't it true though? Everyday learning. It's okay to not know.
Yeah, I think it's important.
What do you think about the whole free school meals thing? So no, the October half term just finished. We're out of that half term, but say for example now we're heading into lockdown. I personally I think it will extend. The lockdown will extend. It won't blow over. Sorry, excuse me. In the 2nd of December, I think it will extend. But then we've got the situation of the Christmas holidays and what will happen then in the December holidays. What will go on with the kids with the free school meals. What is your opinion on what just happened though? I
think, do you know, honestly, like politics has been draining me so much recently. I think I'm trying to find that balance between like staying in the know-how and knowing what's going on and forming my own opinions on situations. And I think it's very important to educate yourself on societal issues. However, I think it has become very draining to literally, honestly, because I've followed so many political pages, especially after everything that has happened on so many different like even this one called like UK fact check politics or something like that. And that one's really good. But I think it has been very hard to like every time you open your phone see another negative thing. So I think sometimes it's nice to step away. So in general, in terms of that, I think it's been a bit up and down. Sometimes I'm very into like learning about it. Other times I'm like, I need a bit of a break. But specifically the free school meals thing, I think it's just interesting. I've said interesting so many times, but it truly is interesting how our government has chosen to spend money. Because for example, there's companies like billion-dollar companies that could definitely afford to pay their staff. Like, I don't know if you saw that, like the Sports Direct owner, and how he's like a billionaire or a millionaire or multi-millionaire, whatever it is.
Is he not paying his staff?
He has remember when he said he has people on 0-hour contracts. So the way that furlough worked is that they would the government would pay a certain percentage and then the companies would top up the rest. I think it was at the beginning it was 80%, and then you could either take that from the government or you could top it up to 100% for your staff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
So the government they pay 80%, right? So
no, not now. I think at the beginning. I think at the beginning of furlough pay, like when it first ever started, I think that was the situation.
That was the situation.
But I'm like, there are companies who can genuinely afford to pay all of their staff, even double pay if they really wanted to, throughout this pandemic. And instead of that, instead of having a scheme where it's like, you know, depending on the amount that your company earns or depending on who needs it, or helping smaller businesses to thrive and survive so that everyone could get through this pandemic and everyone could survive out of it. Because if somebody can literally afford to pay their staff literally 3 times their amount of pay for hundreds of years to come and it would not affect them, I think, why give them the money they don't need? You could take that money and give it to people who do need it. So they're saying, you know, it's not within the funds and that it should be local government who should take care of these children and pay for their free school meals. However, if they really did have a better budget strategy, this wouldn't be an issue. They would be able to put the money where it really needs to be, which is with children who need meals, children who need shelter, homeless people who have now stopped their accommodation. Where are they going to go? Winter's about to come. They're going to, like, these things really trigger me because it's like, why? If it's not necessary, if we could really like budget things in a way in which everyone can benefit from, where homeless people can have shelter, where kids who can't afford their next meal can get meals, and where companies who can literally pay their staff can pay their staff themselves, it wouldn't be an issue. Why are you paying 80% of a salary that doesn't need to be paid, like which a company can pay for? There's smaller businesses who could literally use that money to feed their families, to keep their 5 or 6 members of staff. You know, that is what is, you know, they say the small business is the backbone of the country, but that bone is not really being served right now. There's no calcium. It's just gonna, you know, there's nothing happening.
No calcium.
There's nothing in there. It's just like they've just extracted all the nutrients out of this backbone, which they keep talking about. And smaller businesses are closing day after day after day. And I just think it's a shame. It's a real big shame.
I think I heard one thing about the free school meals thing. I heard about, what was it? Oh, let me try and jog my memory. Okay, so somebody said, I think it was a presenter who spoke about how, oh, you know, if people, this free school, he was on the other side, so he said free school meals, we should just let the families deal with their children this half term.
Oh, so I know what you're talking about.
This presenter this presenter said something along the lines of and I don't want to quote it exactly, but along the lines of how parents can look after their children. They can feed their children.
If you're talking about the one that I'm thinking
this was
of,
the one about
like
a loaf of bread.
Oh, no.
Okay, so this was the loaf of bread one where he said a loaf of bread costs 29p, this costs 20p, this costs 30p. He was basically adding it up and saying you can't, basically questioning the parents, saying, so you can't afford a loaf of bread for 29p. But that I think was a trigger, because people then said, but yes, we can afford a loaf of bread, but that's not the point. Where's the nutrition? When they're at school, they get their nutrition because they have their fruit and they have everything, whatever they have, an options of what they want to eat. At home, if you're saying that you want them to live off a loaf of bread for a week, that's a bit, you know, it's a bit of a stretch. And also it doesn't make much sense, because all you're going to be feeding them is carbs. It's not good for their development.
Fruit and veg and poultry and meat, which is all going to be expensive. Right. Show me a 29p, you know, piece of chicken, and then maybe we can talk. You know, show me a 29p like pack of like vegetables, where you can get salad, where you can get, you know, like it's just ridiculous.
Fine. They can eat to survive, but it's not going to be anything nutrition. And again, this whole aspect of we're actually letting the younger generation, the future generation, go hungry.
For sure.
Why are we letting that be the case? Aren't the adults supposed to protect?
It's really like. It comes to the point where I'm like, this is literally just a moral issue. It should not even be a discussion. That should not have ever been something that goes to Parliament. It's very sad that we live in a society where they were discussing whether to feed children or not on such a level. And not only that, but people voted to not do so, which I think it's just absolutely shocking. And the videos that came out of all these MPs, you know, we shall not name and shame, but I think everybody has seen like videos of conservative politicians who have given their statements on these issues, and it's very like, I'm like, do you guys understand what you sound like? Like, do you just understand that this is really not the issue? It's just like, I remember there was one about, he said, it's time for absent parents to take responsibility for their children. I was just like,
yeah, that was it. It was that. I don't think
I don't think that's the problem at the moment. But thank you for your opinion. Thank you for your contribution. But I just don't think that's the problem. But yeah, hopefully, you know what? Allah takes care of the people of this world. So
Allah
may
provides.
Allah bring all these people the provisions that they need and protect us from unjustfulness, if that can be a word for today,
of the government.
Injustice. Why didn't I just say that? Injustice.
What did you say? What did you say?
We won't
No,
retract.
I need to hear it. I didn't hear it. No,
not important.
Go back.
Not important at
Rewind.
all. I said a word.
Okay.
A word that may or may not be English, but was
I
totally
want to know because
valid in the scenario.
I want to know because I want to laugh.
It had a ness in there.
Unjustness. Did you?
I said unjustfulness. But like, I'm sure somebody, you know, wrote that in the dictionary somewhere. Might be the Oxford one, but some sort of vocabulary list. And I think it should be on mine. I like it. It has a nice ring to it. Many syllables.
Right.
It's great. I think it's perfect the way it is. Yep.
So the elections are today.
Please, no.
I feel like I keep throwing politics at you.
Yeah, I just... no. Yeah,
it doesn't affect us, but it does affect us.
It does affect me because I don't want to. I can't.
It affects our emotional well-being.
Not another 4 years, please.
But they were saying that he was falling behind, right?
Yeah, but like last year, not last
Trump,
year. Sorry, the last election.
One knows who we are talking about.
The last election, yeah, the US elections. In the last US election, then it was the same thing with Hillary Clinton. She was slightly behind, and then he was slightly behind, and then she ended up losing anyway. So. I guess we'll never know until it's all counted, but you know, we
find out tomorrow morning, I think, because by the time
they count.
we can.
There's like some mail-in ballots or something that they're going to count at 7 p.m. tonight, and then that's going to take like a while. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll know. But yeah,
you went to a wedding, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
It was a COVID
wedding.
It was a COVID wedding that you attended.
It was a tiny, small COVID wedding, but it was
Saturday. Was it just this Saturday gone?
No, it was a Wednesday.
I haven't been to a COVID wedding, so I want to know. I want you to give me the details.
It was in a restaurant. It was like a dinner almost. So yeah, it was like a dinner with a few people, and then they had like an area for them to take pictures. And it was cute. It was intimate, for sure. And I think it was all right. It's all right, but I think for sure it's definitely a struggle for people who have like planned these massive weddings with like thousands or hundreds of people, especially like massive Asian weddings, and then they have to.
We all know about the famous Asian weddings.
15 people is like immediate family. That's like your mum, your dad. Let me tell you
something. I don't know about you, but 15 people in my immediate. I'm gonna have to start cutting out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like
people that you know. My siblings are going to have to just take a rain check on that one.
For sure.
Do you have 15 people in your immediate?
Yeah, but mine is different because my family like is in Senegal. Like it's a very, very different, you know.
You could do that if you.
Yeah, I think it would be possible.
If you had to have a COVID wedding.
Yeah, if I had to have a COVID wedding, it would just about be, because that would be my 3 siblings, parents, and my nephew, and my brother-in-law and my nephew. Yeah, that's literally my 7. That would be like, I'm good to go. But none of my friends would be coming.
Nope.
You know, no extended family members, no uncles, no aunties, no cousins.
I would even probably have to give up my seat, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
literally like, forget me, I'll virtually.
I will virtually do this.
Yeah.
You guys attend, eat, have great food.
But I think it's just really peak. Like 30 was already a stretch. 15 is like, you know.
15,
one parent might not be able to
as well just say all weddings go ahead apart from the Asian ones.
Yeah,
that's it. Just say it. Say you don't. Just say that we can't have the Asian weddings taking place.
Yeah,
you know.
If I was people, I would literally just do your nikah and then make it halal, and then after that, I'd be like, have your like party after. It's not even worth it. It's just not even worth throwing a wedding with like nobody there. Because like, even though I'm not like saying like you have to have this massive wedding, but it's just like 15 people. That's like, I can't even invite my friends I've known for like 10 years, which is just like sad.
I guess that's what we've fallen into though. I think it's funny because people have realized last lockdown that it is, and a lot of parents, cultural parents as well, have realized that you can actually just have a nikah, and guess what? you're married.
Yeah.
Guess
It's a
what?
crazy thing.
And it can't make you married.
Yeah.
How about that? Hey,
Yeah.
how about that new revelation right there?
Yeah.
No,
I know,
because
yeah.
people think you have to, especially in certain cultures, it's nikah, then you're not married or you're not, you know, whatever, until you can't live with your husband or your spouse until you actually kind of, what's it called, you're given
Like you
away.
have your
you're given
have
away,
your walima, yeah.
right? Yeah, your walima. So it's interesting because loads of people had to take a rain check on the walima,
Yeah.
had the nikah, and then a good friend of mine actually had her nikah last year, and because of the whole COVID situation, never unfortunately got to see her wedding.
Yeah.
So she never got to have it, and now I think it's funny because now her family like, you know what, just start your life, just do it, just start your life, just go get the place, house, whatever it is that you can do, and be free, because it's, I don't know, and I think that's interesting. We've changed our mindsets, maybe sometimes difficult mindsets to change, but they've been changed during lockdown.
It's by force. You literally don't have a choice anymore.
You don't have a choice.
Because I think a lot of them probably would have wanted to wait it out and see what happens, but now it's just like, now that we know it's a possibility that you could even plan it, like imagine if somebody like moved their wedding to what it would be now November, and then imagine a day before it's like, yep, Boris is like, yep, no, we're going into another lockdown. So it's very unpredictable, uncertain situation. So
can you imagine that? Because can you imagine the amount of people that have probably moved their wedding to November?
Yeah, it's like,
or
it's
moved
really
an
sad.
event, a huge event, or not a huge, but a event to November, thinking, okay, things will be a bit easier.
Yeah.
And now they're in this situation. So I don't know, may Allah make it easy for them.
I mean, inshallah, hopefully they'll all find like a way to get it done. But like I said, I think it's just one of them ones where it's gonna have to be nikah, make it halal, and then sort everything else out after, inshallah, because this pandemic doesn't look like it's going anywhere. This virus, it seems like it's going to be here for a while. I was even discussing with my family, and we're like, we think it's going to be years, like literally, like
People really think it's going to be over 31st of December.
no.
People really think New Year, Corona dies.
No, everyone. I remember even when like all like you know when the memes came out at the beginning, and everyone was just like, oh yeah, I can't wait for 2021. That's gonna be my year, or like 2020 never existed, and all that stuff. But I think, really and truly, I think it is going to be quite a few years. I don't think it's going to be that easy to get rid of it.
I mean, let's see. Inshallah, this all blows over very quickly.
Inshallah, but we'll see what happens. But I think it's taught a lot of us that some things that we've prioritized to be outside can actually be done at home, which is great. Because I think, but it's actually weird now because you're still paying £9,000 to go to university, and that's all being done at home.
So they were actually they're having a debate on Parliament are having they were supposed to have the debate on the 16th of November, if I'm not.
About what?
About so how that petition
Yeah.
petition happened to kind of reimburse us all. Reimburse the students for the uni fees.
It's
for
actually,
this year.
yeah.
They have the petition. I keep saying petition on the wrong sentence.
They have the debate.
They have the debate on the 16th of November, but now that probably won't happen, I'm guessing.
Why not?
We're locked down, isn't it?
Yeah, but they still went to Parliament because they have an essential job. They have an essential like job role. So I think they'll still do it.
Okay, right, yeah. So then we've got the debate happening for that. I believe it's on the 16th of November. I need to check my facts. And they're going to discuss that whole thing because the amount of people that signed that petition.
Yeah. I think like, I'm surprised they're not all protesting, to be honest, because I think it's actually shocking that they're even considering it because it's just not the same thing. What are you really paying for? I got told I wasn't even allowed to pick up a book. So like, you're not even paying for the resources at uni. So I find it absolutely ridiculous.
That's such a thing to happen to you, Hafsa.
I don't understand it. It's like everything has to be difficult when I want to do something.
Everything is so different with you.
So different. I just live a different life to the rest of the world. It's like
you try so hard to live a normal life. And the world is like, no, so you're different.
You're different. But what can I say? It teaches me to build character.
Yeah, it's character building. It's absolute character building.
I've never been so shocked. He said it with so much conviction. Like, you are not allowed to touch that shelf behind me because it's COVID. And I said, right, sir. Like, that's a bit excessive, isn't it?
Wow. And you're still running them their checks.
Yep.
I don't even like the fact that we're nearly close to 30.
We're not close to 30. How are we close to 30? We've got a while.
Yeah, but we're not far off.
We've just broken into the... not close to
We've just
30.
merely opened the door to
Yeah,
our 20s.
we're in our early 20s.
Well, I'm only like 4 months into being 20, I think.
Yeah. 5
Yeah.
months. I'm 5 months.
5 months into being 20?
Being 20.
And I'm still worrying about being 30. Wow.
But I feel like age is just a number. It's so cliche, but age is literally just a number. I feel like just live your life. We're in this like rat race culture where you like have to do this by this age and have to do that by that age. But really and truly, in 10 years, I'm still going to be 30. So I might as well spend those 10 years doing stuff that I like. It won't change anything. You're still going to get older.
You're still going to.
So, and every plan is
reach
perfect
that
for
age.
you, inshallah. So don't worry about things. I think just...
There is definitely
live.
an age stamp on every single achievement, isn't there?
Yeah, and I feel like it's worse for women. Like, it's like, if you don't do this thing by this age, if you don't get married by like 21, and if you do, everyone has that thing where they're gonna get married in uni, walk out, have your first kid by 21, get your first job, be done with it by 25.
Walk out of uni down the aisle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy because like there's just like, especially because this has that whole like biological clock thing. So I think everybody has that thing where it's like, I need to get everything done by a specific age, and if you haven't done it by that age, you're like failing in life. But who made this rule? Like, I want to see the law book. I want to see where this will derive from, because yes, it's true, it is good to get married young, it is good to have kids young, but I think everyone has a plan that's perfect.
But if
for
it
them,
doesn't
and it's
happen,
Allah's plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like don't worry about it. Just do what you need to do. Focus on yourself. Focus on your life. Focus on your deen. I could die tomorrow, so why am I worried about whether I'm going to be getting married by 25?
Yeah.
When really and truly I could die tomorrow. So focus on what I'm doing now.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Focus on the good you've done now, the barakah you have in your life now. What longevity you have. Because if I die tomorrow, I can't take my money with me. What am I trying to say? I mean, like, it would just be a situation.
As in your point about
now. Now, it would be great for you to focus on today and tomorrow, and that would be more beneficial for your life than to focus on things that you can't control, which will happen in 5 years.
That's
what I'm trying to say.
That's a good conclusion to that part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Focus on now. Focus on you now.
Oh my God! I just realized I didn't even mention. How I have that little daily reminder thingy. The reminder today was so good. It said that the example of let me quote this. No, I won't quote it right. Let me not even try. Let me just say what I remember. But it said the example of a believer who reads the Quran is like a citrus, who reads the Quran every day or something like that. It's like a citrus fruit which has a good smell and a good taste, which was really interesting because it played into that conversation that we had earlier in terms of like forming good habits. But yeah, I think it was just really good. I don't know why. I just particularly really liked that one.
SubhanAllah. It's really nice.
But it reminded me of like
that. I need to know how to have those reminders.
The reminder thing.
How do you get your daily reminders every day?
It's on a book thing. Have you not seen me post it on my Instagram story?
Oh, no, is it a calendar you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
it's like
fine.
a little calendar thingy. Some of them are a bit,
Maybe we should link the calendar so that people will be able to.
If we have it, I'll put it in the description box below. It's on eBay. It's just this like, it gives you like a little daily reminder while you're getting ready, reading on it, pondering on it. But it's quite nice. But yeah, I think it reminded me to form a habit surrounded by the Quran during this time, inshallah, for sure. But do you have any specific habits you're going to be picking up during lockdown?
I say this
what
so often.
Where would you like to be in the next year?
Well, Hafsa, I say this so often, but it's more reducing kind of bad food, bad things like that. Like, kind of what's it called? Detoxing. Yeah, detoxing in that sense. But then I feel like at the same time, I need to, there's a bunch of things everyone needs to work on, I think. A bunch of things that everyone needs to work on. I can't let the dark, gloomy days of the winter put me down, because I feel like it does.
Yeah.
I am that person, which I really need to work on, but I am that person that allows something as small as the weather to make me feel like
a lot of people
that's
actually
it.
have
I'm not
that,
going to carry on my day. Looks like it's time to go back to bed. So I need to work on that. I need to stop letting that affect me so much.
Yeah, that's why I think planning usually helps quite a lot. Not to overly plan, like we said before. It's a bit like excessive sometimes, and it kind of inhibits you from doing what you want to do. But I think just a little bit of like, this is the goal, this is how you're going to achieve that goal, I think is really important, because then you have like a plan. You have things that you're going to do. So for example, if you want to be healthy, how are you going to do that? Are you going to do smoothies? Are you going to do like little meal plans? Are you going to cut out sugar? You know, what it is that you're going to actually do to achieve that goal.
Small step action plan. So do you remember in school learning about, I just came to my mind now because I was saying how the weather affects me. The SAD. You remember SAD?
Do I remember learning about SAD?
No, do you remember?
About being sad? Do I remember being sad when I was younger?
Wow, that was deep. Okay,
what are you asking me?
I'm not trying to bring up any traumas. No, do you not remember learning about SAD?
Can you explain?
Sorry, okay. Let me explain. Seasonal affective disorder.
No.
She's looking at me
but
so baffled. I wish you could just see the facial expression Hafsa gave me, because she really looked at me as if I need to leave the room.
Because it made no grammatical sense. I was like, okay, maybe maybe if I focus a little bit more, I understand what she's saying. Do you know SAD? Have you heard of SAD? Did you experience sadness? I was like, I didn't know what you're thinking, but like, okay.
I can't breathe.
Yeah, season.
I can't breathe.
Let me just get it together for 2 seconds. Yeah, seasonal affective disorder.
Seasonal affective
disorder. Did you know how I just said that from the beginning?
Because they call it SAD. They call it SAD.
Have you not heard of seasonal affective disorder?
Okay,
also known as SAD. Have you SAD? Do you know? Do you SAD? Do you SAD sometimes? Like, I don't know. But yeah, seasonal affective disorder.
Seasonal affective disorder. Do you remember learning about it and how it was this whole note? We're literally crying right now. My eyes are so watery. Learning about how the weather is so funny. We're laughing, but it's a really serious thing. So it's a bad tone for the conversation I'm trying to go down.
This is your fault, but okay.
So yeah, you get affected by the weather. So people, they go through in the winter months, they're really down.
Yeah.
It's an actual disorder. It's disorder. This actual thing. And the summer they are a lot better, and it's to do with light. So it's to do with the fact that there's no light. So that lack of light. So they do something called light therapy. I think it's called light therapy. Okay. Where in the winter months, the autumn months, something like that, they just try to get as much light into that person's space as possible. So say it gets dark by 4. They're just trying to fill all of that with just, I don't know how to explain it. And maybe they just use a lot of lamps or lighting, or they change the lighting or something. Is a way to overcome seasonal affective disorder. So yeah, the lack of light actually makes you really sad. So that's interesting to know.
Yeah. No,
and
I
on
think
top of that,
the
lockdown, could you imagine that's anyone who suffers from...
Yeah, because then you're at home, you're not even going outside in the light. It's like you're literally in darkness 24/7. That's why they were like talking about like exercise, going for a walk. A lot of people like just... Why are you smiling?
I'm just thinking about... Are you sad?
I can't concentrate when you look at me like
sorry, I'm not going to look at you. I'm going to look at the wall.
Okay.
I'm going to look at the wall. I'm looking at the wall.
I remember what I was saying now. The point is I know what you're talking about.
The whole light thing,
before.
So that's interesting, because imagine you're suffering from the seasonal affective disorder. On top of that, you've got a lockdown on top of you.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really interesting.
I think that's why a lot of people, when they do want to go on holiday and things like that, they'll go to like really sunny places, because when the sun's there and it's... Why am I knocking everything around me? When the sun is
just
there,
swipe your desk. It's fine.
It's just how I talk.
Hafsa's so passionate. I really wish, obviously you guys will never see us, but I really wish sometimes that you could see what I'm seeing, because Hafsa, she gets really passionate.
This is just how I talk. I'm a very
if you hear like clutter and if you hear things like banging and you hear, it's just Hafsa talking.
It's just me moving my hands.
It's just Hafsa passionate about it. She just swiped her table.
Yeah, this is just how I talk.
Do you want me to take obstacles out of your way? Should I take things?
I don't have a problem. I can. You know what? Let me just
sit on your hands. Sit on your hands.
Let me see if I can talk. How long?
Sit on your hands.
Hurts. Okay, I'll just talk like this.
Okay, proceed.
See now, I don't. Who am I? What was I saying? I can't remember now. Yes, basically, my point is that we should all go outside in the daytime, to try and help us combat this, because I think a lot of people do experience that, and it's just nice to get some fresh air, not just keep yourself cooped up inside, because that is not going to be healthy for you. We all need to get a bit of fresh air and get a bit of sunlight.
Did they say, I didn't know if they said anything about the restrictions on exercise for this lockdown. They haven't said anything yet, have they? Because before they made it really specific that we can have 1 hour exercise.
Said you can do exercise as unlimited exercise or unlimited outdoors with one person though.
One
from
person from another. I think you can also have one person from another house.
Family, yeah.
Hold, one person. Because I guess if you're caring for someone that's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like meet your friend for a walk or something.
But in this weather, I guess this is me just being negative with the winter season again. I really need to overcome this. But with the weather, you probably just, I guess people are going to wrap up. I think people won't people will get to a point where they're like, we have to go out. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if it's really cold. Wrap up, go out. I think it's made people feel like obstacles can no longer stand in our way. Yeah. If we want something, we just have to do it and just find a way
The obstacle is the way.
The obstacle is the way.
I still want to read that book. Haven't got around to it yet.
What book are you reading at the moment?
I wanted to start the Malcolm X book. My sister was reading it first, so it was my book, but we won't talk about that. It was my book, but she read it first because I was never going to get around to reading it during that time, and she finished it and she said it was amazing. So I think that's the next book I'm going to read, but I just need to make time to read.
Do you take a long time to read books? Because I take about a year.
Yes, it took me, the last book that I fully read and finished was The Kite Runner.
Amazing book.
By Khalid Hosseini. Hosseini? Is that how you say his name? Anyway, him.
Hosseini.
Yeah, and that took me a year to finish. A whole year.
People love that book.
Yeah. But I started Patricia Bright's book, The Heart and Hustle. That was amazing. It made me just be like, okay, I need to get on job with everything in my life. But I remember, I told you about this already, about how her mum bought a house like for super cheap when she was younger, like when her mum was like working and everything. She probably saved up, bought that house, and then sold it for £250,000 recently.
Wow.
Which is grand. Because
when did she buy the house?
I think it was a long time ago, maybe like 2000 something. Well, we're in 2000 something now, but like the early 2000s.
The early 2000s.
Yeah. And then sold it like maybe like 2016, something like that. So
it's interesting you come onto that conversation, because I was having a conversation with my grandma the other day, and she was saying how my granddad bought people buy houses, right? So back in the day when it was, and they were like maybe 13 grand for a decent kind of size house. But that's how it was. Can you imagine? But then again, back then that was a lot. Yeah, but in terms of proportion, it's not the same. It's not like the same. It definitely, like we definitely, obviously that was their finances back then, but nobody was getting paid like 12 grand a year as their salary, or like 5 grand a year as their salary. Whereas now our salaries might be like, I think like, what is the average salary of somebody in the UK? I'm sure it's something ridiculous, like 19k. Have a look at part-time, because I mean, I'm sure we've got a lot of students that listen.
No, but even full-time. Let's just go for full-time.
Yeah, just go for full-time. Is it average salary you're checking?
Yeah, average salary UK is
like a Monday to Friday 9 to 5.
What is this? Why can't they just give me the number I want? No GQ magazine. I don't want to read your whole article to find the answer. Well, according to UK Job TED, the average UK salary is 29,600 per year. 29,000. And then the houses are like 1 mil. So it's not the same proportions at all. So I think for a lot of Muslims who want to like buy a house outright and avoid the riba and everything, it's so difficult. Mushkila kabir. Like kathir mushkila kabir. Like honestly, there's just a lot of issues when it comes to that. You're going to have to like really be on your money. That's why I think for a lot of Muslims, they're really like aspiring to be their own boss, have their own income, be successful
having
financially in the
over,
dunya, and then have control over that. And then hopefully we can bring ourselves up to be in a strong financial position where we can make those purchases, inshallah.
I think the good thing about being like a Muslim business owner and having your own thing, maybe as well as working, because I'm sure people are taking up so many different ways of like sourcing income. But yeah, definitely having something yourself is that it's interesting that when you have a day like that where you're in the day of what's it called, in the day of working for yourself, the day in the life of working for yourself, the working day in the life of yourself, something like that, along those lines.
Very excessive way to say it, but I get what you mean.
Very excessive way of me just trying to say working for yourself. You have control over how you spend that time, so you can take the breaks that you need to say pray, and you can still implement your deen in that as well. Whereas obviously naturally when you're working for someone else, when you have your normal job, to you your deen is a priority, and to you praying is a priority, etc. But sorry, we just had an intruder in the studio. To you your prayer is a priority, but to your manager, I mean, especially if they're non-Muslim, it's not, it's not. I think working for yourself is quite interesting, because then you can work towards both the
having employees,
this life and the next.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and also what's interesting about that is that it would be really nice to have like Muslims in like a larger financial space can then hire like 200 people for their company, and all those people can benefit from the fact that they'll have Eid off, during Ramadan they can do lower hours or something like that. They can prioritize the nights, maybe they could start a bit earlier, working around those timings. I think would be really nice for like Muslims to be able to provide that for each other, inshallah. Because if you look at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the time before that, I think I was listening to, I can't remember what I was listening to. I think it was because I was doing this little post, remember, for like my Instagram on like each of the surahs from Juz Amma and that game. I think it was Tafsir of Surah Quraysh. I think so. But anyway, they were talking about how the Quraysh at the time were very successful in different spaces, and they were like taking over the Arabian Gulf, and they were smashing it with like in terms of like being very smart. So I think that's something that we can take from that in terms of just being incredibly good at the dunya, but also striving for the akhirah at the same time, because then it's you providing that as a financial means for other Muslims is like a great place to be in, not only for yourself but for the whole Muslim community as a whole, because then you have places where Muslims can go. You don't have to worry about their salah, they don't have to worry about getting Eid off, they don't have to worry about any of these things, and you're helping them provide, what's the word? Oh my god, it's such a basic word. Let's just go with money, providing money for their family. So I think that provision. Yeah, providing provisions for their family. So I think that's really nice for you to go. So I think we should aspire to have both goals in the dunya and goals in the akhirah.
Having more Muslims in bigger work in financial spaces I think is something that we should strive to achieve, maybe for the next generation as well, our future generation.
Yeah, because I know a lot of like small businesses and companies who like put in their bio like 10% of our money goes to this project and that charity. So imagine if every business, like imagine if Jeff Bezos gave 10% of his salary to charity, or even 2.5% like zakah or whatever. I think like that amount, like if you were like very well off, that amount can change like a whole perspective of people, like a whole group of orphans' lives. So I think it's important for us to, put our intention, like we're doing this for the sake of Allah. I want to, become very financially stable so that I can put my money towards things that Allah is pleased with, not necessarily for you to have it like be only for yourself. So make those intentions so that every step and everything that you're doing to work towards your goals, you're getting barakah for it, you're getting reward for it, because you're having the right intentions to do it for the sake of Allah. Like it's like putting Allah first in everything that you do.
Which we should definitely all strive.
To do. It's something that we all need to improve on. Intentions is so important. I think it's something that I'm definitely trying to get better at.
You could not even achieve something, but if you had the intention of it, how much like that is worth. How crazy is that?
Yeah,
to Allah. That
like just having a good intention.
Having good intentions,
is a reward.
And it's such a simple kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah. And how much it's rewarded is.
Because I think we just forget to have intentions, because I can't remember. Oh my god, my memory is so bad. But I was listening to another series, I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically talking about getting to a point where everything you do in your life is based around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so you get to a point where what was it? Oh my god, I'm gonna find it for next week. But basically, you get to a point where even your sleep becomes something that you're getting reward for, because you're like, do you know what? I just want to gain energy to have my next day and do things for the sake of Allah. I want to eat because I need to fulfill myself to have the energy to strive and do something for the sake of Allah. So that is where we need to get to with our intentions, so that everything we do Even me like sitting here, move my hands around, and everything that you do will have a benefit for you in the akhirah.
Wow.
So I think intentions is so important.
You know what? I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it like
never
that.
had until I heard
that's
it.
really enlightened me because, yeah, getting to the point where every single thing you do is so that you can do something for Allah's sake.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
I
That
hate to
is...
interrupt. I'm just going to put my phone on the charge. But can you keep...
Yeah, I don't even know if I have one. Do you have one?
I have a charger. But I just need...
So yeah, so even sleeping so that you can wake up with you have the intention of, you make that intention before you sleep that I'm waking up to fulfill X, Y, and Z in the morning and having that energy.
For sure, because I think that is something that we can all aspire to, because then people get that point where they're like, do you know what, I don't know how to balance my dunya and my akhirah. But if you get to a point where everything you're doing in the dunya is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's like, even if you are getting caught up in those goals, but you have your intentions for the sake of Allah, then you're getting reward for it anyway. So it's like the best of both worlds.
I think that's a really beautiful way for us to end our second episode. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think, how long have we even spoken for? Oh wow, it's
yeah,
been like an hour and a bit.
It's been a while, but I think that's a really, really beautiful way for us to wrap up this second episode of Missheard.
Enjoy lockdown, guys. Make the bed.
Stay safe and achieve your goals. Okay, I hope you had a notepad and was writing everything down about what you wanted to achieve.
For sure. I think get organized. Don't waste this time. Like, this will never come again. We will never have a time where we can be so selfish and sit at home and do whatever we want and work towards our own goals forcibly, spend so much time with our families, spend so much time towards our deen and benefiting from that. So don't waste this time. Just don't waste it.
Even if it's something as small as the last point we made about renewing your intentions, just do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't require kind of that major action. It just requires a shift in your mindset.
You know that did you see that thing that I put on my story? It was so good. It was like these little goals that you can put, and it said to tick 3 off first.
Yeah.
So it was like
3 and then
the sunnah fast. It was like doing the duha prayer.
Sunnah prayers, I think, something
sunnah
like
prayers. And what was the other ones? Like your morning and evening adhkar. These are things that we can implement so easily. So like these are things that, you know, sometimes when you have a massive goal, just have a little checklist for yourself, things that you want to achieve, small ones, and then tick one off, implement another one, tick one off, implement another one. So that once you come out of this, you come out 10 times stronger, inshallah.
And form your 25-day habits now.
Yeah.
So come December, come the 1st of January, you have that on lock.
I'm getting my bullet journal for sure.
I'm going to get a journal. You know what? I'm going to order them right now. I think I should.
I want to pick mine up. I want to touch them. You know when you get a nice feel.
Could you imagine if they did what your uni did?
Stationery.
You cannot touch that book on that shelf.
Oh my God. You know, apparently we're not supposed to be touching things in the shop, unnecessarily. But like, there's just like...
It's just our natural instinct.
If I'm going to have that book for the whole year, I want it to have like a nice velvety feel to it. But yeah,
agreed.
I'm excited.
Renew
Productive.
the intentions, guys. Make this lockdown the most productive one yet.
Inshallah. Ameen. Hopefully that is
our second episode of Missheard. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.